you've started your journey as a language learner to master a new language. That's great. You attend class, do your work, practice on your own, and try your best to learn. After successfully passing your language class, you might ask yourself, how much do I really know? And how do I find out? It's a question a lot of us have, and there is a way to answer it. A proficiency test. A proficiency test isn't like other exams. Instead of testing what you're taught in a short amount of time, you're tested on how well you can use the language. To better explain, let's follow Bob on his journey through language. When Bob began his journey, he could only say a few words. But as he practiced more and more, he was able to go further up the path. He begins to combine words, form sentences, create full paragraphs, and by the time he makes it to the top, he's confident enough to express what he's thinking. Let's say goodbye to Bob for now, and ask a few UTA students to share their experiences with proficiency tests.
I had mixed feelings. I was curious about how I'd do, and it was nice that it wasn't for a grade, but I'd never taken a test like that before, and I wasn't really sure how well I'd do on it.
I felt nervous because I had never taken a proficiency test before. I also didn't know what to expect. I was also nervous because I didn't know how I would score.
When I'm in class, I'm able to anticipate what the questions will be. It's not really the best environment to be able to tell how well I'm doing in a language. That's really why I wanted to take the proficiency test.
I wanted to know what level of the language I would test into, and I also thought that during the test I could take a mental note of what I did well on and what I did more poorly on, and then I would know what areas of the language I needed to improve on later.
I utilized the practice feature offered on the test website. I found that that was the most beneficial way to go about studying because it familiarized me with the test and with the way the questions would be asked.
I only briefly looked over my notes and went through a few example questions. I treated it like a pop quiz. So because of that, I didn't study too much.
I really didn't do anything to prepare for the test. I knew that proficiency in a language was more about knowing and understanding the language than it was about memorizing flashcards. I scored higher in some areas than I expected and lower in some areas than I expected, but I learned a little bit about my learning style. I was able to put things into words, into my own words, to make them understandable for a native speaker, but when a native speaker was speaking, I had difficulty understanding.
I actually scored better than I thought I would. I was pleasantly surprised with the score that I received.
I got the results I expected because I learned that it is easier to understand a language than it is to speak it.
The test's results and the analysis of proficiency really show where your weaknesses and strengths are with your proficiency in your language. This is really helpful, and it showed me where I needed to work a little more and where I did really well, and I found this monumentally beneficial.
When learning a language, you're meant to fail. If you get a low score, you can't think, oh no, it's over with, I can't learn a language anymore. I know a lot of straight A students struggle with that, but all the proficiency test is to show you where you need to improve. All it is a snapshot in time of where you are in the language right then. And if you are able to improve and practice more on those areas, you will get better and you will have a better score when you are able to take it again.
I learned what areas I needed to improve on. For instance, I felt strong in reading and writing and weak in speaking and listening. In the time after the test, I spent more time on speaking and listening, and I feel much more confident about it.
Yes, I would recommend they take the proficiency test, and I would recommend that they also take it multiple times throughout their language learning journey. And I would also recommend that they take it as more of a measurement or gauge to measure where they are in their proficiency and where they need to improve, rather than just as an exam to beat, because it really works well as an analysis of your proficiency.
I would. While it's an intimidating test to take, it does show you where your strengths and weaknesses are.
I would definitely recommend language learners take a proficiency test. It helped give me a better understanding of how I was learning, and it gave me a good starting point to get better at language learning.
Yes, it's good to see what level of the language you're at, and seeing how you score can help how you study the language going further. It's good to see what level you're at, so when you take the test again in the future, you have a new score, which is a visual representation of your progress.
I think it already has. It's pushed me to try and study more and get over my hurdles. And I see the proficiency test as a goal in itself, to be honest. I really want to be proficient in Russian and fluent. And I see the test as a way to be able to score myself and see if I've succeeded or not.
If I pursue a career using the target language, I have a certificate proving my level of the language. Plus, I can add it to my resume.
Yes, I plan to take it again multiple times just on my own to gauge my proficiency and where I need to improve.
Yes, I plan to do it again. I really want to improve my score, especially on the parts that I flunked.
I would take the test again. I still have work to do based off of my last results.
I would take another proficiency test just so I could continue recording my language learning journey.
I would, and I actually plan on retesting again in the future until I get a better score that I'm more satisfied with. It's great because it's not a one and done type of test.
Informative.
Practical.
Helpful.
Educational.
Excellent.
Bob is ready to see what he can do with language.